Ladies and gentlemen, our all participants, welcome to the 15th International Standards Olympiad opening ceremony. Firstly, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Chang Seon-young. It is my great honor to be your MC, and I would like to sincerely welcome you all. This event has been held since 2006 in the form of competition. The Olympiad, which is 15 years old this year, provides an educational stage for participating students home and abroad, and also to experience the standards by solving the challenging tasks for themselves. Unfortunately, this year's forum, this event is being held in a socially distanced manner online due to the spread of COVID-19. However, we did our best to develop meaningful programs for you, so we hope you are looking forward to this event and join us at the 15th International Standards Olympiad. And I would appreciate it if you send me a lot of interest and support and passion until the end. Thank you once again for your support and interest. The 39 teams from various countries is participating in the online competition with teachers, families, and friends, and other interested people from all over the world. Thank you. And for the prevention of COVID-19, participants in the competition place and students via Zoom will take temperature and keep social distancing and wear masks. From now on, let us begin the opening ceremony. Now we have an opening speech, so I would like to invite Administrator Lee Seung-woo of the Korean Agency for Technology and Standards. He will deliver his opening speech. Could you please come up to the stage, and ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to all of us to the 15th Seoul International Standard Olympiad in Korea. And it's a great honor for me to take the opportunity to deliver opening remarks in the fantastic venue today. As the world faces an unprecedented crisis brought in by the COVID-19 pandemic, the CAT decided to hold this year's Olympiad as a non-face-to-face event. I would like to highly extend my warm thanks to all the participants from China, Indonesia, Kenya, Singapore, and Korea who will compete in good faith for 3 days journey in the midst of difficulties. And I also wanted to sincerely welcome all teachers and families joining the event through the YouTube live streaming. Especially, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Professor Moon Sung-bin and other Korean judges, as well as IEC and ISO representatives and experts who will be joining overseas as judges through the online. Until the first of the half this year, we could not even imagine holding this year's International Standard Olympiad within the year due to the global COVID-19 outbreak. However, we were able to overcome the difficulties and finally open the Olympiad today. All thanks to the passions of our young participants and our shared hope for fostering future talent in the fora of international standard. This year's International Standard Olympiad, for the first time in its 15-year history, will be held as a non-face-to-face event. It is an uncharted territory for all of us, and we will face challenges in every step of the way. We also feel a great sense of responsibility because the eyes and ears of the global standardization community are upon us. Dear members of the global standardization community, in the last year's Olympiad, I highlighted the importance of standard in the era of post-industrial revolution. Traditional industries are rapidly merged with new industries, and people and things are connected among themselves and with each other changing our lives at an unprecedented pace. And I pointed out that in this era of hyperconnectivity, standards constitute one of the key elements, and its significant and consequences will be growing further. Today, I would like to talk about the role of standard in the era defined by the COVID-19 pandemic. The dramatic spread of COVID-19 has disrupted lives, livelihood, communities, and businesses worldwide. And the stakeholders, especially government and international organizations, must urgently come together to minimize its impact on public health and limit its potentials for further disruption to lives and the economies around the world. In that sense, the crisis brought by COVID-19 has elevated the importance of standards even further. Many countries are now supporting the development of COVID-19 vaccines and proposing international standards related to infectious disease. The global community is closely working together to translate each country's knowledge and expertise into standards to ensure the shared growth of humanity by addressing the threat of the new infectious disease in the future. Korea has also joined the effort as one of the leading countries in the fight against COVID-19. As a part of the effort, Korea is pursuing the international standardization of the K-quarantine model, representing Korea's quarantine practices and processes. Korea attempted various approaches to resounding success, including the drive-through and walk-through test and a real-time PCR techniques. Moreover, Korea plans to share its experience and knowledge through the standardization of these practices to help our neighbor countries cope with the challenges brought on by the pandemic. In this day and age, the role of standards extends beyond more technological advancement to the prosperity and the coexistence of all humankind. The International Standard Olympiad aims to help our teenage participants deepen their understanding of the roles and the significance of standardization. During the competition, all of you will extend your understanding of what the true value of standard and learn what you have to do more for achieving the sustainable goal. I hope this event will provide you with excellent opportunity to open up new paths for the future of standard as well as your own future. Although we are not able to meet face to face, I'm sure that you will give your best to the competition while respecting the other participants and find yourself in the center of the stage for sharing your culture and experiences. Finally, I would like to close my word with many thanks to the KSA and other staffs for making this event possible, as well as to the dedicated teachers for their great work. The CATS will never stop its effort to ensure that more and more young people around the world can take part in our upcoming Standard Festival. I do believe that all students joining the Standard Olympiad will grow up to be the next young global leaders who will change the world with standard. Once again, I warmly welcome all of you, and I hope all the participants do the best and enjoy the event. See you soon. Thank you.
Please give another big round of applause. And also raise your hands. Thank you so much for your meaningful speech. Thank you. As you mentioned, it's a very good opportunity to share our future image and talk about the role of standards. And I hope you have a meaningful time together through this event. And now we have the welcome speech. So I would like to introduce Chairman and CEO Lee Sang-jin of Korean Standards Association. He will deliver his welcome speech. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big hand.
Good afternoon and good morning. Hello, everybody. My name is Sang-jin Lee, Chairman of Korean Standards Association. I would like to welcome the 112 students across 39 international teams to the main competition of the 15th International Standard Olympiad. I'm very happy to see your faces on the screen through the webinar. I also want to express my gratitude to Administrator Lee Seung-woo of the Korean Agency for Technology and Standards to attend this ceremony, as well as to Professor Moon Seung-bin for leading the panel, and supervisors and fellow students and families watching this event on your YouTube. As mentioned by the Administrator Lee in the opening speech, this year's International Standard Olympiad faced unprecedented challenges to the COVID-19. The International Standard Olympiad brings young students across the world in one place, giving them an opportunity to gain knowledge on standards and build friendship and harmony through fair competition. However, the pandemic prevented us from crossing national borders and even forced us to shut down schools. Holding the Olympiad within the year seemed to be an impossible task. We have 39 teams from 5 countries: Korea, China, Singapore, Indonesia, Kenya, competing in the main competition. Once again, I'd like to thank our students for making it to the final round despite the recent difficulties, which prevented the preliminary round in many countries, including Japan, Malaysia, and many others. Dear students, the International Standard Olympiad is the only competition in the world designed to raise awareness and increase understanding of standards among teenage students. At every IEC and ISO meeting, I felt the keen interest that the global community expressed regarding the Olympiad. I had a chance to glimpse your participants' YouTube presentation in advance for fun. And there are a number of different teams from naming this Mary Putih from Indonesia, Grauda from Indonesia, Bahir from China, and Makers, and Good Medical, and some other Korean participants. And your talent on the online was tremendous and very creative. I was very much impressed by your presentation, and I enjoyed your presentation very much. This non-face-to-face event represents our efforts to overcome the challenge brought on by the pandemic. Furthermore, this event will be a watershedding event to accelerate the standard development process and to lower the cost of collaboration in making standards. In addition, it sends a message that we will continue to hold the Olympiad and foster standardization talents for the future in the face of any difficulties. Dear students, you are the leaders of the future society. I hope that the Olympiad will help you familiarize yourself with the new ways of communication and do things in the era of digital transformation. Moreover, I hope that you feel the efficiency and effectiveness of non-face-to-face activities and use this experience to propel your future career. In your time, countless international standardization meetings using ultra-speed networks will be everywhere. I hope that the event prepares you for a future way of developing international standards. I also hope that over the next 3 days, you will gain a better understanding of standards, experience how they are developed, and above all, create cherished memories that will last for many years to come. I wish all of you a bright future and outstanding standards experts. Even though we are holding this year's event in a non-face-to-face way, I sincerely hope that next year's 16th International Standards Olympiad, we can invite students from all over the world to a forum for true harmony. Thank you.
Please give another big hand once again. Thank you so much for your meaningful speech. Our leaders, as you mentioned, I expect your competition too. Thank you so much. Actually, now we are connected online for the opening ceremony of the 15th International Standard Olympiad because we are not able to gather together for this event. Some people have sent us congratulatory messages. So firstly, Secretary General Sergio Musica of ISO sent us a congratulatory message. Founded in 1946, ISO has played a leading role in sharing the knowledge among the 165 states. It has also expedited the international exchange of materials and services by unifying and developing international standards and specifications. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet him on the screen.
Hello. A warm congratulations to all of you for being selected for this exciting International Standards Olympiad, where you will proudly represent your school and your country. ISO is the International Organization for Standardization. ISO standards are made when experts from all over the world, selected by ISO national members, come together to create and agree on a common set of requirements or specifications. For example, when you watch high-definition cable TV or videos on your mobile phone, this is thanks to ISO standards. This technology is possible because there are ISO standards that detail the codes and processes required. In fact, it is so revolutionary that the team of ISO experts that developed these standards have twice won an Emmy Award from the US Television Academy. The standards are also part of your everyday life. Sporting equipment, toys and games, buildings, transport, banking, all are based on standards. Most importantly, standards keep us safe. ISO develops standards to ensure that our information in cyberspace is secure, that food products are safely processed, and that the labels on medications are correct. Standards also protect our planet, helping organizations fight climate change and reduce waste. Many standards help to stimulate innovation that can lead to new inventions. For example, did you know that a solar-powered airplane that flew all around the world with just the energy from the sun was made possible thanks to ISO standards? All these standards have been developed by bringing together some of the best experts in the world. I trust that one day you will be one of them. I would like to take this opportunity to warmly congratulate our South Korean members, the Korean Agency for Technology and Standards, for organizing this successful International Standards Olympiad for the 15th time, and to all of you for being part of it. I am sure that you are all very well prepared and full of passion and team spirit. I wish you the best of luck for this competition, and I hope that you will be inspired to continue creating your dreams with standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think it was a very energetic speech. As you mentioned, the standards are very a part of our lives. So this event is very meaningful and good opportunity for all of you. And next, we have the congratulatory message from the Secretary General and CEO Philippe Metzger of IEC. IEC, the representative organization for Standads in the electricity and electron field. Let's all have a look at on the screen.
Hello everyone. I know you are impatient to compete in the 15th International Standards Olympiad, and the IEC is excited to support you. Did you know electricity can be dangerous and needs to be tightly controlled? Standards make sure that you can safely use your blow dryer at home or take the subway to school. They also help protect your phone when it falls into dirt or gets wet, allow you to play video games or use artificial intelligence applications such as Siri, Alexa, or Bixby. IEC standards help manufacturers to design, build, and verify the quality and safety of the many devices that use electricity or batteries. If you become an engineer one day, you will use IEC standards to develop interesting products. Maybe you will even help improve international standards together with other engineers from all around the world. I wish you a lot of fun and success at the 15th International Standards Olympiad. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Korean Agency for Technology and Standards and the Korean Standards Association for organizing this marvelous event.
Thank you very much for your speech, ladies and gentlemen. Please give another big round of applause. Thank you. And what great speeches from the speakers. Thank you once again for your speeches. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our all participants, I think this session is very important session. Sometimes we remember every moment with pictures. So it's time for commemorative photo. So firstly, please pose for the photo, 2 poses. And also, could you please come up to the stage, our distinguished guests. And we have to ready for the photos. First pose is a very small heart, so I would like to make the finger heart for the photo like this. I will show you how to make it like this. Small heart is a first pose. Please, all the online participants, could you please make finger heart like this? Okay, thank you so much. So please pose for the photo for 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, smile, thank you. And we have the next pose, so please raise your hand to say hello. Nice to meet you, and welcome, and congratulations. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Thank you for your cooperation. It's time to wrap up the photo session. Thank you so much.
축하합니다. 축하합니다. 네, 15회 국제표준 올림피아드 개최를 축하드립니다.
네, 코로나19로 인해 지난 대회와 다르게 비대면 방식으로 참여하고 계신 참가팀 모두에게
격려와 응원의 마음을 더보이즈가 가득 담아 전합니다.
네, 준비하신 대로 하시면 분명히 좋은 결과가 있을 거예요.
네, 곧 코로나가 잠잠해져서 다시 전 세계의 중고등학생과 함께할 수 있는 날까지
국제표준 올림피아드 대회에 많은 관심 부탁드립니다.
네, 다시 한번 15회 국제표준 올림피아드 대회 개최를 축하드립니다.
그럼 지금까지 더보이즈였습니다. 감사합니다.
축하.
Thank you, the boys, for your video. And also thank you so much for your wonderful pose and photo. Let's make an event as passionate as all these hearts. Now we have a special lecture, ladies and gentlemen. So I would like to invite Professor An Seonju from Sungkyunkwan University. She will give us a lecture on COVID-19 pandemic and quarantine. So now Professor An, hello.
Hello?
Let's meet on the screen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm ready.
could you please start the presentation?
Of course.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Sonju An, and I believe you are watching my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So today I'd like to talk about COVID-19 pandemic and K-quarantine. And I'm a project leader of ISO TC 304, Healthcare Organization Management. And also I and my colleagues, including CATS, have founded new working group targeted for pandemic preparation and response in ISO. So as we know very well, all over the world are affected COVID-19, but unfortunately, we don't have any valid vaccines or treatments for the time being. But good thing is that we have learned a lot. We can contain the infection by the virus by non-pharmaceutical measures like this. So quickly identify and isolate the infected individuals and quarantine people who have or might have met an infected individual, and maintaining social distancing or physical distancing, and promoting health, personal hygiene, like wearing a mask and using contactless in Korean contactless technology such as AI and application, personal health record as much as possible. So you can see some examples of K-quarantine model, the drive-through, walk-through screening station, and outbound, inbound AI call center, and self-symptom checker. And for the quarantine people in South Korea, we use contact tracing strategy and home isolation with self-symptom checker. And using contactless technology, we monitor and we monitor people, infected person, individuals, lots of patients, and give some relevant, appropriate treatment. So what is K-quarantine? K-quarantine refers to Korea's quarantine activities represented by the 3 T's, that is test, trace, and treat. And CATS, the Korean government with CATS will propose 18 international standards which systemize the Korean quarantine model to various international organizations, including the ISO. Some of them already passed the MP ballot, NWIP, that is new potential new potential standard of ISO. Yeah. And have you ever heard about drive-through screening station? Yeah, there is one of the most famous K-quarantine model these days. The DTSS, drive-through screening station, is a screening facility where patients go through the screening process of specimen collection through a car window. The purpose of DTSS is early diagnosis of COVID-19 patient. And actually, this model can save time, the specimen collection. And we included the key protocol of a drive-through screening station. So in the new working group item, new work item proposal was already submitted, and it has passed the MP ballot and already started the first stage of international standard. And this standard includes fundamental concept of DTSS and physical design, standard operating procedures, current method, stepping, and messaging. If you don't have a car, don't worry about that. There is a walk-through screening station, and walk-through screening station use a small small booth, like a telephone booth. Yeah, it's very small booth. And walk-through screening has been implemented for people without cars and non-drivers. It is exclusively dedicated to the function of specimen collection. This not only minimizes both the pressure on the hospitals and the risk of transmission by keeping potential patients out of hospital waiting rooms, but also reduce time by eliminating the need for the disinfection measures required for sample taking within a hospital or outside of hospital. Typical procedures of WTSS consist of registration and medical examination and sample collection, education, and instruction. To quickly test a symptomatic foreign traveler, you can see the right section of the slide, my slide. You can see the, just a moment, please. You can see the green tent. This is one of the walk-through station, which is located in Incheon International Airport. And this booth is located in Namgu Bogonso, Namgu Healthcare Center, which is located in Busan Metropolitan City. And you can see this middle model, the H+ Yangji Hospital, that is located in Gwanakgu. They already actively used this walkthrough booth. So the potential standard of regarding walkthrough screening station is also cover fundamental concept and stepping, messaging, and data collection methods. So let me summarize the characteristics of K-quarantine model. First one is non-pharmaceutical measures. Pharmaceutical means vaccine or drug for treatment. An ICT-driven quarantine model. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, K-quarantine model use mobile app or untapped technology like artificial intelligence call center, and proactive collaboration between public and private sectors, and innovative large-scale screening stations. You know that drive-through screening stations have already implemented I think all over the countries and territories around the world. For example, UK, US, Europe and North America and Asia. And we have very flexible but strict special entry procedures for travelers. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the most important result of K-quarantine standardization so far, because you can see the red column, the drive-through screening station and walk-through screening station, including self-symptom checker. I already submit those MP new work item proposal to ISO TC 304 Working Group 4, which is titled with Pandemic Preparation and Response. Those items has passed MP ballot successfully. And rest of the items will be ready soon for potential international standard. And today is actually a very special day for us. You know that we actively utilized residential treatment center, 생활치료센터, for mostly mild symptom cases. Today, I've received good news from cats. The RTC, you can see the RTC, oh, this is switched. Yeah, RTC has passed MP as an MP ballot. Yeah, so we already 3 working draft for standard. Actually, that is remarkable result of K-quarantine standardization. And I'd like to thank all of the participants and stakeholders, including CATS and all experts group in Korea. From now on, let me briefly talk about the content list measures for K-quarantine. First one is AI chatbot, CoronaBot, call center in Seongnam City. AI calls are initiated twice a day to monitor the symptoms of those who required active surveillance. This was initiated due to exposure to confirmed patients in Seongnam City. And according to an announcement by Seongnam City, only 10 minutes was required for an AI to call 364 people at once and obtain relevant information. According to the established protocol, and it required a total of 5 hours and 40 minutes when a healthcare center personnel made each call individually. That means 5 hours and 30 minutes were saved by AI chatbot. This drastically improved the quarantine process. Second model is decision support. An artificial intelligence company has distributed a solution for free that provides a diagnosis within minutes by analyzing the X-ray or CT images, which the medical staff has uploaded to the cloud computing system. And primarily, a hospital healthcare worker or the individuals interested in this service can upload their X-ray images. And in other case, Bundang Seoul National University Hospital uses the hospital information system remotely to identify or diagnosis the infected people with the X-ray image. So this is the uploaded CT and X-ray image, X-ray radiography image, and the AI company gave feedback to doctor whether this patient has a severe symptoms or not. And third case is contact tracing strategy. As contact tracing strategy, you can see the many diverse innovative smartphone app. And you know, the very first time, many European countries concerned about the privacy problem regarding this contact tracing strategy. But now they actively implemented this strategy. They developed their own contact tracing app for contain the virus. Yeah, another example is residential treatment center that is called 생활치료센터. RTC is temporary hospital for mild symptom case, but who have been discharged from hospitals but find it difficult to get treatment at home. So the admission criteria, you can see the mild infections, hospital discharged patients, and overflow cases from hospitals, unsuitable home environment for isolation. Yeah. So you can see the representative service of a residential treatment center. Actually, we've made in South Korea, we've already developed the document regarding RTC. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it has passed as an MP. This protocol, this document consists of designation of RTC, staffing, and patient management, and hygiene and laundry meal service protocol. And especially you can see the red rectangle, and those services was conducted by personal health record system, not manually, okay? There was no contact between healthcare worker and patient. This is a real example. You can see the real dashboard of RTC adapted. You can see the right circle. That means this patient insert some symptoms related COVID-19. That means healthcare worker need to some kind of provide intervention. And 5 example, this is a self-symptom checker. Self-symptom checker is very useful tool for quarantine, especially in pandemic situation. This system automatically connects immigration information with symptom management by requiring the overseas visitors or travelers to install a mobile application on their cell phone, which scans their passports at the entry point. As mentioned earlier, since the maximum incubation period of COVID-19 is considered to be 14 days, the system also includes a function which allows travelers to enter their symptoms twice a day for 14 days. Depending on the input, the traveler can call an artificial intelligence-based call center service to get advice regarding screening station to receive a test, RT-PCR test. And all of these quarantine procedures are based on the International Health Regulation 2005. So you can see the major functions of self-symptom checker. Yeah, person verification, QR code authentication, passport number recognition, daily self-symptom checker. Just 4 symptoms input is okay. Fever, cough, sore throat, and shortness of breath. And collection of location information. But you can see the only if mobile devices GPS is activated. So until now, in ISO TC 304, working group 4, which was established by Korean, already driver screening station, walk-through screening station, residential treatment center, self-symptom checker, and negative pressurized medical container. Those items registered as a MP, new item proposal. I suppose you are familiar with this term, I believe, yeah. And rest of 10 or alpha NWIP items will be ready and will be submitted very soon, I believe. So let me summarize what kinds of contactless technologies implemented in South Korea for quarantine and isolation. You can see the many diverse examples. And in South Korea, we made K-quarantine model-based international standard. But through the many stages ballot process, we will make wonderful and universal pandemic standard. because lots of national member bodies wants to join this work progress, okay? And so let me finalize. What is the key value of COVID-19 pandemic standardization? The value of COVID-19 experience depends on when the next pandemic strikes and what society have done to prepare in the interim. Hopefully, if the next pandemic strikes in, say, 5 years or 10 years' time, our technology might have substantially improved. But then again, the world could have been much better prepared to respond to COVID-19 or on other kinds of novel virus than government were. Thank you for your attention. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your meaningful lecture. And also, I heard some celebration message. So some celebrity have sent us a congratulatory message. So let's all have a look at.
안녕하세요. 청아입니다. 15회 국제 표준 올림피아드 대회 개최를 진심으로 축하드립니다. 네, 코로나19로 인해 지난 대회와 다르게 비대면 방식으로 참여하고 계신 참가자팀 모두에게 격려와 응원을 전해드리면서 국제 표준 올림피아드 대회 많은 관심 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you for your message. And now Professor Moon Seung-bin from Sejong University, Chief Judge of this Olympiad, will deliver you how to perform the final tasks and the criteria of judgments. So could you please come up to the stage, Professor, and ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him.
Hello. I think everybody is very nervous at this point. And I think I already introduced to you through the pre-recorded training messages. So I'm a professor of the computer science at Sejong University, located in Seoul, Korea. And I will be one of the judges. And today, during this 15-minute session, I try to convey the message of how to write the effective standard and how to prepare tomorrow's session. And let me continue. I think everybody is already given this template. So this template is the template for the international standard. This is officially used by the ISO and IEC together. And you are going to, this is your DOC document, so you are going to use this document to add your own contents and so complete your standard. So this document should be on hand for your preparation of the documents. So next one is the sample document of the standard. This is already used when I introduced to you about the standard, sample standard. So this sample standard is called international standard. The title is the serials and persist. And second element is the specification and test methods. And third element is the part 1 RISE. So this document was used to explain you how to write the standard. So let me briefly just go ahead to cover the few items. Not all of them, but few items. Today, other than this, I want to emphasize some of the other concepts I didn't explain during the pre-recorded videos. So I hope everybody pay attention to and everybody is successful. So in terms of the content, it looks like this. So it has a foreword, an introduction, and scope, normative references, terms and definitions. Many of you who already listened to my lecture will know that clause 1 to 3 is mandatory. It should be there. But from clause 4 to 5, 6, so on will be very much optional. So how many clauses you will write depends upon you. Anyway, so let me show you. This will be the very first page of the standard. So it will show again the titles, and then the very first clause is called scope. So this scope clause will tell briefly that what will be covered by this document. This will be very precise and accurate statement. It should be very precise, so we should not repeat. So I'm going to explain on this clause again. And then you can see the second, normative references. So normative references is basically the documents you have to refer. When you read this document, to understand this document, to apply this document, you have to know what other documents is already describing. That is the normative references. This specific standard is showing you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other documents, but it depends upon you. Many of you who are not really the experts, even though you want to be an expert in the future, you are not the expert as of now. You may not have the normative references. In the case, you will say there is no normative references in this document. That was explained also in my presentation before. And third clause is terms and definitions. Terms and definitions is also mandatory clauses, so it should be there. And what kind of terms will be defined here? It's very much up to you actually. So in order to read this document, if there are some confusions without defining critical these vocabularies, then you have to define it. But if the meaning is very clear and there is no possibility of confusion, you don't need to define it, right? So when the topic is announced tomorrow, the topic will be announced, and then you are going to write the aspect of that topic. Maybe one aspect. Not all of the aspect, but one aspect of the topic. Then you may think that in order to describe effectively, I want this document should be defined. Then you need to select that term as the term. And then you need to define it, right? That's the terms and definition sessions. Let me now go through the one by one. So title, I already told you, title should be very concise, right? And shall indicate the subject of the document, right? This is very important because many of the audiences, many of the, I should say, stakeholders of the standard, right? The users of this standard will look at the title first. If title is not interesting, if title is confusing, then that will not be good, right? So title should be very concise and very accurate. So it shall comprise maximum of 3 elements. So the elements will be connected by the dash. So we will have 2 dashes maximum because we have 3 items. Usually it could be the TC title, dash SC title, dash contents. Good news is that tomorrow when we announce the title, when you announce the topic tomorrow, we will give you sample title. Sample title. This is a good news, isn't it? You don't need to worry about it. But you are allowed to change the title if you wish, if you have to. So the sample title will be given to you. So many of you, I believe, they will use the sample title. But if you feel that I want to really modify the standard title, then you are certainly allowed. Okay? So this is the title. And next page is the mandatory clauses. So as I said before, the other documents, usually the textbooks or things like that, sometimes we call sections, section 1, section 2. But in the international standards, somehow we are using reserved word, quotation mark. I'm doing quotation mark. So reserved word of the clauses, right? So clauses 1, 2, 3. And then 1.1, oh, 1.1, there is no 1.1, I'm sorry. If it is a 3.1 or 4.1, then we call it sub-clauses, right? Sub-clauses. 3.1.1, 3.1.1.1, all of them will be called as categorically sub-clauses, right? So we have clauses. Clauses 1, 2, 3 are mandatory clauses. Mandatory. So it should be there. So the very first clause is the scope. Scope I already explained, right? Scope is the things you need to describe what this document is describing, and normative references and terms and definitions. So let me go one by one. Scope. The scope is your mandatory clause which describes what document does. So typically from this you have to write. From this, all of the participant uses your own language to write this standard. But typically, it starts like this. This document specifies, for example, previous document, this document specifies the test methods for the rice product, something like that. So tomorrow, when a theme is announced, you will use this similar sentences. Another example is this document establishes, or this document gives guidelines for. This document defines terms. If it is the vocabulary standard, by the way, I'm giving you one hint. It's not the vocabulary standard tomorrow. So you don't need to look at the last, the possibilities. So anyway, this is given as an example. So there is no rule that you may use any kind of English sentences, right? Usually, but very first one will start with this document. That will be very natural. But other than that, this is given as an example. So it shall be worded as a series of statement of fact, and it shall not contain requirements. Should not contain requirements. Okay? This document should be the specifying facts, not you should not do this or you shall do this. That kind of description, requirement should not be there. Right? Requirement will be in the main text. From chapter, did I say chapter? That is wrong. From clause 4 and on, right? In the main text, you are going to use a lot of requirements, recommendations, and allowances, and possibilities. But in this specific clause, you should not use requirements. Do you remember when I said the requirement? You have to use the English verb using shall, right? English verb using shall is the requirements. English verb using should was, what is should? Should can be replaced to the is recommended to. Is recommended to, right? And then another thing is the may. May will be replaced by is allowed to, right? And you may use can. Can is the possibility and capabilities. So this is very strictly used in the international standard world, right? Did I use the word? Yes. This is a kind of jargon, kind of language which is reserved for this area. In the international standard, we say shall is the must, should is recommended to, and may is allowed to, and can is the possibility, right? So you may use this language freely but correctly, and the scope shall be succinct so that it can be used as an abstract for bibliographic purposes. Let me go to the now next normative references. I'll be very brief on this issue because many of you may not have enough time to find the normative references. Maybe you have to spend all of your time to find your own, to develop your own main text. So you may say in the last dot, if no references exist, you may say there are no normative references in this document. But you should say it, right? You should say it if there is no normative references. If you say, okay, I don't have any references, I'll be very clever, so I will make it blank. Next against rule. I already explained, right? So you have to follow the rule. So you should say there is no normative references in this document. If you can find any kind of the references you want to refer, then you may write it there. And third will be the vocabularies. So vocabularies, we should say term and definition in standard word. We are not using glossary. We are not using nomenclature. We are only using term and definitions, right? So, for example, in the rice standard, we have defined 3.1 paddy. Do you know the meaning of paddy? Personally, I'm not good at paddy. But this paddy is the same as the paddy rice and rough rice. So that is the rice, right? So and then we define that is the rice retaining its husk after threshing. So many of you understand this easily, right? We are the farmers, right? We are not farmers, right? So we may not easily understand this. But anyway, when you have a rice, first we thresh. We put sheet forces to the rice to take the contents of the rice out. So the original rice will be called paddy rice. And then 3.2 we define husked rice. Right? And then we say paddy from which the husk only has been removed. So when husk is removed, we call that as the husked rice. Right? I am explaining this in order to make you farmers. That's not the case. I am explaining you this because you have to, when you write your own standard, when you are developing some concepts, you want to explain very clearly. That might be confusing without the definition. You can bring it out and you say this is a term, 3.1. This is another term, 3.2. How many terms? It depends upon you. There is no limit, right? But you have a limit of the overall writing time, right? So you will be utilizing time very effectively, right? So you will define terms and definitions. I don't think there is no there will be a standard which will not define any kind of terms. Anyway, if there is no terms to define, then you say also there is no terms to be defined in this document. That was already explained. So a definition shall not take the form or contain a requirement or recommendation. Oh, okay. So similar sentence. So definition should be a definition. Definition should not contain requirements, right? Definition should not contain requirements or recommendations. And the form of definition shall be a single phrase. they can replace the term in context. So this is a common mistake that even the experienced international standard experts are doing. When we ask them to define it, they try to describe the definition as a sentence. They want to be very kind. So they want to say, oh, it means this, something like that. This is not good. Definition should be a phrase without any period, any exclamation mark. So this is a phrase, single phrase, which can be replaced when in the context. So definition should be a phrase which can be replaced in the main text of the term. So that was, I think, explained very clearly in my previous pre-recorded training videos. So notes, if you want to say any additional things other than the definition, then you may say note to entry. So note 1 to entry, something like that, the red part. So note 1 to entry, note 2 to entry, you may say any additional things. In these additional things, you may say some requirements, if you wish. If you have to have requirements, then you may refer it here, right? This note 1 to entry, note 2 to entry. So this is another example. So let me be brief. And from the clause 4, this is the main text, right? Clause 4 and on, it is a main text. So you'll write. So these things. So whenever you have a few items to describe in your document, then rather than having all of them into one clause, I would separate them conceptually, or if the content is too long, I may partition it into several clauses. So you will write it. So from clause 4, clause 5, something like that. And during the writing, you may use the table if you wish. We have a table here, right? I already explained to you about how to write the table. And let me continue. So clause 4.2. So clause 4.2 is explaining some of the referred documents. So that referred document, if that other document can be referred in your document, if you wish. Usually, even though you have limited time, and I don't think it is possible. But if you have a reference, there are two kinds of reference. One is when you are referring as the shall, you shall read this document. The numbers from this document shall be used. If you use that way, then that should be listed in the normative references. But if you just refer it, when you read this document, you can just see that document for the reference. Then that does not necessarily have to be in the normative references. They may go back to the bibliography, which is usually located at the end of your document. But that's not that critical. Anyway, main text may contain note and example. Note will be used to describe additional information, right, in the main text. So when you try to write down some additional information, then you may write down as a note. If there is one note, you say note. If there is two notes, you say note 1 and note 2. Why? In order to easily indicate that part, right? So note, you can write down note or example. If you want to say example, right, then you may write down examples. And in terms of a note, right, note, they shall not contain requirements again. They shall not contain requirements and recommendation, even permission. If you want to write down requirements, recommendation, permission, then write it in the main text, not the note. Are you confused? When I said the note to 1 to entry in the vocabulary, I allowed at that time. Did I allow? No, I am not allowing it. It is the standard policy which allows the use of the requirements or recommendation in the note to 1 to entry. But that is only for the vocabulary. But in the main text, note should not contain any kind of the requirements or recommendations or permission. So note should be just additional information. Sometimes note could be used like this. Sometimes I want to write down some of the conventions, right? Some of the conventions, which is not necessarily to read this document, but this is additional information, then you may write down in the note. An example is an example. And another thing is the annex. Annex will be used. So annex will be some of the contents of your document you may write down that, but some of the contents is very big, but you want to keep it in a separate part. So that the reading of this document is more readable. Then you may put that at the end of your document as a form of the annex. You know the annex, meaning of annex, right? Annex, like appendix, right? But we are not using appendix in the standard word. We will just only say annex. Annex will be numbered as the annex, not annex 1, 2, 3, rather annex A, B, C. Don't ask me why. That's the what we are doing. That's the rule we are following. So all annexes shall be cited in the text. And the status of annex, we have two kinds of annex. One is the normative annex. Another is the informative annex. I'm going to explain this later. So this is the clause 5. Look at the clause 5, right? Clause 5, we have a main text. How many lines? How many lines we have? How many lines? Only one line. Only one sentence, right? 5, sampling. Title was sampling. Let me read. Sampling shall be carried out in accordance with ISO 24333 clause 5. Very simple, right? This could be a separate clause, right? So the length of the content does not necessarily be long to be a separate clause. So it is the concept. You want to separate it, then separate it as a separate clause. And look at the clause 6. Clause 6, compared to clause 5, it is at least a page long and a lot of subclauses. 6 is the test methods. And 6.1, moisture content. 6.2, waxy rice content. 6.3, nitrogen content and crude protein content. Oh my goodness, I have no idea what does this mean. 6.4, gelatinization time. 6.5, husked rice yield. So this is the going to the very specific items, right? And then look at the 6.5, 6.5, 6.51, determination, 6.52, precision, and then 6.521, inter-laboratory test, 6.5, 6.522, repeatability. So this is going very precise, right? So for your case, I don't think you will go down to these 4 levels. You may go to maybe 3 levels, 6, 5, 1, something like that. So separate your concept, right? If you want to separate concept and if that is better, you believe, then you may separate it. But it's up to you. There is no person who will say how many clauses there, how many subclauses there. It's your group's decision how to separate concepts, right? And then make it into the different numbers of the clauses, different numbers of the subclauses. So clause 5 and 6. So this was already explained. So let me be a little bit fast. And this clause 7 was the test report. When you write down this kind of, when you itemize some of the items in your report, especially test report or things like that, you have to write in terms of the not 1, 2, 3, but A, B, C order. So here for each test method, the test report shall specify the following: and A, all information necessary for complete identification of the sample, something like that. And then the H, the last item, is the date of the test, right? So this is the kind of information you may write it. And then clause 8, packaging, clause 9, marking. So this is the things. So clause 7 and 8 is explained here. And now annex. So annex, as I said before, annex, there will be two kinds of annex. So you see at the top, you see the annex A, right? Annex A is the, when I see the annex A, I say, oh, this is the very first annex, right? Because A, B, C, alphabetical order. So annex A, and then after the annex A, we have a parenthesis normative. There are two kinds of annexes. One is the normative, another is the informative. Only two kinds. Very easy, right? Only two kinds. So if you want to write it, you have to write it as either normative or informative. But this is not just up to your decision. In order to be normative, when you refer it in your main text, oh, by the way, sometimes you have only annex, but there is no citation in the main text. That's wrong. That's very wrong. So whenever you have an annex, you have to write it in the main text. Read the annex A to do this kind of a test, right? For additional information, see annex B, something like that. So when you refer, when you cite, right? When you are reporting this annex, if you say this is a requirements, then that is a normative annex, right? This means that that part of the annex should be used. There is no chance. You shall use this annex. Then that's the annex, the normative annex. But if that is the giving additional information, right? Then that will be the informative annex. This is very important. Personally, when I working in the international world, standard world, I was fighting one time that somebody want to make it to the normative annex. When I want to it as a informative annex, we have a very big decision. So this is very important. So if it is the normative annex, then everybody should follow. Every test house, everybody using this standard should follow this. But if it is informative, then it is optional. If you feel necessary, you can do it. But you are allowed not to use this part. So Annex A, so normative is the additional requirements, right? Informative is the additional information. This is very important for you to remember. So Annex B, now you can see under the Annex B, informative. So you can say, oh, Annex A is normative, very serious. Or Annex B, informative, okay, let's not, I should not use the important, but you may, I mean, this is additional things. So you may use this kind of thing. By the way, I already explained, but in the annex, when you have a subclause, when you have a clause, right, then you will say not 1, 2, 3, in the case A.1, A.11, something like that. So by looking at that clause only, I can say, oh, this clause is from the main text or annex. For the case of the annex, I can say, oh, this is from annex B, because B.1, something like that. So this is explained here. Now, let me pause a little bit, because I want to change the topic. Right? Change the topic. I'm looking at eyes of all of you. I'm changing topics of my presentation. Usually I do this kind of pause when I say the important thing. Did I say important thing? This is very important for your tomorrow's competition, right? So when it comes to standard, usually A standard, sometimes A standard, one standard covers everything regarding the product, right? But that's very rare. Modern day technology is very complicated. So usually one document cannot effectively describe all the aspects of the product. So what we are doing is the divide and conquer. You know, divide and conquer, right? We divide. We divide the concepts. And then we conquer one by one, right? So when it comes to the standard, we have different kinds of aspects, different kinds of topics of standard. So I just write it down here, but this list is not complete. You can have more list, but this is a very typical topics. So first one is the mutual understanding, like a vocabulary or coordinate system or science. Why this is needed? When a new industry comes in, right? New industry evolves. Then people are confusing. One people are saying this, another people is saying the others for the same thing, right? So we need to harmonize the vocabulary in order to have effective communication. So one of the role of the standard is for the mutual understanding. We agree on the science. We are driving, right? Everybody drives, right? Okay, you are high school students. I was almost saying kids, but you are not kids. So you are high school students, you are middle school students, you are not driving, but eventually you are going to drive. So when you drive, we saw a lot of science, right? So whenever you have to yield, you have to give the right of the way to somebody else, then we can say, oh, we can see the triangle upside down. And we see some signs of the maximum speed, right? That kind of thing is standardized. So that is the symbol or signs. That kind of thing should be standardized. So that is the mutual understanding. And next topic is the safety. We have to ensure that all people should be safe. The new product comes, right? New product comes. If the product is convenient and gives us a lot of good things, but if that results in injury of the human being, that will not be good. So safety is very important, right? So safety is another aspect. And next aspect is the performance. Performance is like this. Buyers, like us, we are the customers, right? Customers want the best performing products. Manufacturers want to sell more, right? To be honest, right? So sometimes they may exaggerate, right? So we want to have an objective way of measuring the performance by the form of the standard, right? For example, somebody say, oh, I have a maximum velocity of my product. I am the best product in the world. But what kind of situation have you tested? We have to test on the same objective. Everybody can accept the way, right? So we need to write it there in terms of standard. And another aspect is the interoperability. Interoperability is the connectors. Oh, I can now take out the product. You may have this product, right? You may not have the automobile at this time of your life, but you may have this cell phone, right? So cell phone has a lot of connectors. So in order to charge this cell phone, we need to have connectors over the battery charger, right? If that is different from one product to another, then there will be the it's not a disaster, but it will be a lot of disconvenience, right? Inconvenience. So we need to have that kind of standard to have all the products have interoperability and then environment protection. This is very important, right? The product is very nice, but it is harming the environment, then that will not be good. So we need to protect the environment. So this is a kind of aspects of the standard. Now, I want to go a little bit further on the safety aspect. I'll explain a little bit further on the safety issues, right? So regarding the safety, let me. Oh, this is okay. Okay, I think item is different. So let me let me skip this. Regarding the safety, I want to say these things. Safety is the before this. Let me just summarize. I'm going to orally explain about the safety issues. When it comes to safety, what is important is the safety is the every product has some kind of a risk, right? For example, look at the automobile, right? We are driving, so that automobile has sometimes have some fatal accident, right? As a matter of fact, every day, it's a daily life that this automobile has a very fatal consequences. So that is called a risk. Risk. What safety standard want to do is that to reduce the risk, right? So what is the risk? So risk is the risk, R-I-S-K. Risk is can be defined as the combination of the probability of occurrence of the harm and severity of the harm. Have you listened? Can you understand? So let me define this way. So have you heard about harm? Harm. H-A-R-M. Harm. Harm is basically physical injury of the people. Physical injury, right? And risk is the combination of two things. One is the probability of occurrence of the harm. Another is the severity of the harm, right? So what is the probability of occurrence? If it is occurring 1 times a day, if it is occurring 1 times a month, 1 times a year, 1 times a 10 year, this is the probability of the occurrence of harm, right? Another aspect is the severity. Severity is the physical injury, right? But the level of injury. So level of injury is sometimes you are injured, but you can use the some very easily. You don't need to go to hospital. That's minor injury. But sometimes you have to go to hospital. But you don't need to hospitalized. You can go home, right? But sometimes if your injury is very severe, then you have to hospitalized. How long? 1 or 2 days? 1 month? That's very severe. What is more severe? More severe is very unfortunate thing. You lost your arm. We can lose our leg. Sometimes fatal accident, right? This is the severity of the harm. So using these two factors, we call that as a risk. So in terms of the standard, safety standard, you try to reduce that kind of risk as much as possible to low, right? That will be called the risk reduction. So in the safety standard, any product, you have to try to lower the risk. How you can lower the risk? One thing is the lowering probability of occurrence. And second thing is the lower the severity of the harm, right? So for the case of the automobile, for example, we have several ways, right? In order to reduce the risk, we wear safety belt. You know the safety belt, right? You know the safety belt we are wearing every day, right? And then we have, what is it? When we have a collision, we have we have a good brake system. We need to have a good brake system. So sometimes we call anti-lock brake system, ABS, right? And when collision happens, then sometimes we have this big balloon comes out, so that protect our life, right? That kind of thing is the risk, reducing the risk. So tomorrow, when you are given a topic, you need to think about this kind of aspects, right? Now, let me summarize by visiting the FAQs, which I already provided, but just let me briefly cover this. Can you decide the title? I already covered. Do we have to use the provided template for document? Yes, this is a resounding yes. You have to use the provided template. However, you may add more clauses for standardization items. Is there any page limit? No, there is no page limit. As long as you use the provided document template. Can you use the table and figures? Yes, you are encouraged to use the table and figures. And let me go to the next. Presentation. Do you have to use the provided template for presentation? No. In terms of the presentation, you are free. So you are allowed to use your own presentation style. What is the assigned presentation time? So it'll be 5 minutes, right? Can you use the table and figure? Yes. Also, you are encouraged to use. And other rules. How much percentage is allotted for document versus presentation? 50% for the document, 50% for presentation. Are we allowed to divide the task and assign the specific task to individual member? Yes, you are actually more than encouraged to divide the task among the members, 3 members. So you should effectively assign the task so that in a limited time, as time is limited to complete the document, presentation material in short time. How important the teamwork to produce the final document. It is very important for you to collaborate and indicate the role of each member in your presentation. So in your presentation, I would say, even though I am the presenter, this person was doing this job. Another person was this job. I would explain that. Okay, this will conclude my talk on the topics of the writing skills, of the documents and presentation skills. And I hope everybody is successful in tomorrow's this work, and hope to see you later. Thank you.
Please give another big hand. Thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you so much. I think it is very valuable information. So it would be good to keep in mind the criteria for judging this competition. And also we have another congratulatory message, so let's meet it on the screen.
안녕하세요, 라분입니다. 네, 제15회 국제표준 올림피아드의 개최를 진심으로 축하드립니다.
한국, 중국, 인도네시아, 싱가포르, 케냐의 학생들이 정말 열심히 국제표준 올림피아드를 준비하셨다고 들었어요.
네, 작년에는 세계 여러 나라의 학생들이 한국에 직접 와서 참가했는데요. 이번에는 코로나19로 비대면으로 진행하고 있죠.
네, 비대면이라는 새로운 방식의 국제표준 올림피아드 대회지만 여러분들 정말 잘하실 수 있을 거예요. 저희 라붐이 모든 대회에 참가하시는 모든 학생들과 선생님들을 응원합니다.
국제표준 올림피아드 본선 대회에서 최선을 다해주시고 앞으로도 국제표준화에 대해서 지속적인 관심 가져주시면 감사합니다.
네, 다시 한번 정말 축하드리고요. 저희 라붐이 항상 응원하겠습니다. 그럼 지금까지 라붐이었습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for your video. As you know, students from China, hello, and also Singapore, hello, and Indonesia, Kenya, as well as Korea, hello, are participating in this Olympiad. So now this is our first meeting. So we have an ice-breaking time with representatives from different countries. 11 teams applied previously and their performance videos are prepared. And the videos have been distributed since last week through the official YouTube channel. And your clicks on likes and the popularity both during the competition period will be reflected in the final scores. Only 5 teams will be awarded in the end. And also you can watch the full video on the official YouTube channel. And ladies and gentlemen, let's meet them on the screen.
표준 올림피아드 대회 개최를 축하합니다.
코로나19로 인해 지난 표준 올림피아드 대회와 다르게 비대면 방식으로 참여하고 계신 참가팀 모두에게 커다란 격려와 응원의 마음을 아이전이 가득 담아 전합니다.
준비하신 대로 하시면 분명 좋은 결과 있을 거예요. 곧 코로나가 잠잠해져 다시 전 세계의 모든 중고등학생과 함께할 수 있는 날까지 국제표준 올림피아드 대회에 계속 관심을 가져주세요.
다시 한번 15회 국제표준 올림피아드 대회 개최를 축하합니다.
지금까지 아이전이었습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 제15회 국제표준 올림피아드 대회 개최를 진심으로 축하드립니다. 2006년부터 청소년들에게 표준의 이해를 돕고 또 표준화의 중요성을 널리 알리기 위한 표준 올림피아드 대회가 벌써 15회를 맞이했다고 들었습니다. 정말 뜻깊은 행사인 것 같고 앞으로 30년, 60년 더 나아가 100년 이런 기념할 수 있는 그런 행사가 됐으면 좋겠습니다. 또 본선 대회에 참여하는 39개의 중고등학생 팀들 모두 표준화 과제를 해결하면서 표준을 재현할 수 있고 또 조금 더 신경 써서 재밌게 할 수 있는 그런 시간이 되시길 바랍니다. 또 여러분만의 특별하고 다양한 아이디어가 가득한 본선 대회가 되길 소망합니다. 저의 응원을 받으시고 모두 좋은 결과를 얻으셨으면 좋겠습니다. 저도 저의 위치에서 열심히 할 테니까 여러분들도 최고의 아이디어와 최고의 생각들과 그런 것들로 마음껏 뽐내시길 바라겠습니다. 지금까지 이준영이었습니다. 화이팅!
Wow, amazing. Thank you for your wonderful videos. I couldn't take off my eyes. And thank you, celebrities, for your message. I was quite surprised to see so many people that are interested in this event as well as the bright future. Thank you so much. And also, ladies and gentlemen, our all participants, this brings us to the end of this opening ceremony. And the opening ceremony ends here, but the Olympiad will last for 3 days. And task solving on 18th, and evaluation and closing ceremony on 19th. Please make sure the topic of the final round will be announced tomorrow on the homepage of the International Standard Olympiad on 1 p.m. in Korean time and also 4 a.m. in the international time. I would like to thank all of you once again, and I hope you get a good result. This has been Son Young-jung, and thank you very much for good attention and participation. Good luck.